So we're on chapter 9, and let us do verses 11 through 20. Om Bharataya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Amba Tvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Avajananti Mam Mudha Manushim Tanumashritam Param Bhavam Ajananto Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram Moghasha Mogha Karmano Mogha Jnana Vichetasaha Rakshasi Masuring Chaiva Prakritim Mohinim Shritaha Mahatmanastu Mam Bharata Daivim Prakritim Ashrita Bhajantyananya Manaso Gyatva Bhutadim Avyayam Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dridhavrataha Namasyantascha Mam Bhaktya Nitya Yukta Upasate Jnana Yajnena Chapyanye Yajanto Mam Upasate Ekatvena Prithaktvena Bahudha Vishwato Mukham Aham Kraturaham Yajna Swadhaham Ahamoshadham Mandroham Ahame Vajyam Aham Agniraham Hutam Pitamahasya Jagato Mata Dhata Pitamaha Vedyam Pavitram Onkara Riksamaya Jurevacha Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Suhrit Prabhava Pralaya Sthanam Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam tapamyahamaham varsham nigranam yutsrajami cha apnritam chaiva mrityuscha sadasachaham arjuna Traividya mam somapaputa papa yajnairishtva swargatim prartayante te punyamasadhya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. So we're back to the Gita class after a long break. We haven't had a class since before Thanksgiving. So we'll begin where we left off of chapter 9, though I want to do a little review of chapter 9 because it's been so long since we were in the last class. We're to take up verse 17 tonight, but let me go. I'm not going to do the whole chapter again, but a few verses. I want to go first to the first verse of the chapter 9, because here Sri Krishna tells what he's going to teach us in this chapter. So he says, Sri Bhagavan Vacha idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyamya anusuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajnatva mokshase shubhat. So this great secret to you, I am going to you who are not critical, who are not caviling. I'm going to teach this highest secret, which is knowledge, jnanam, and which is vijnanam, which is here he interprets it as experience. That is, Madhusudana interprets jnanam, knowledge, as intellectual understanding, and vijnanam as experiential knowledge, that which is higher than intellectual conception, that which is higher than conviction, but which comes with experience. Yajnatva mokshase shubhat, having known which you will be freed from all that is evil. So as the running translation here gives it, however, to you who are not given to caviling, I shall speak of this highest secret itself, which is knowledge combined with experience, by realizing which you shall be free from evil. So Madhusudana explains that here he says, however, the Sanskrit word tu, which can mean but or can mean however. So why does he say that? It's because in the previous chapter, chapter 8, he spoke about upasana, about meditation, but that doesn't take one to the highest knowledge. That takes one close, but not to the highest knowledge. So here he's saying, I'm going to teach you that which will take you to the highest. And then he says in verse 2, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyaksha-vagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. So this that I'm going to teach you is the Raja Vidya. That is, it's the sovereign knowledge, or sometimes it's called the royal knowledge. Either one is correct, though I think sovereign is better, because sovereign gives the sense of being completely fulfilled. You can be a Raja and still be a jerk. but this is the sovereign knowledge, that which gives you sovereignty, that is, which makes you a possessor of your swarajya, of your own kingdom. That is, you have complete freedom and autonomy. Raja Vidya and Raja Guhyam, that which is the sovereign secret. And as I explained in the class when we went over these early verses, it's a secret. Why? Not because God has made it a secret, not because Sri Krishna has kept it a secret, not because the sages have kept it a secret, passed down only to disciples by whispering in their ear. It's a secret because nobody pays attention to it. It's the open secret which is in front of our eyes, or which is behind our eyes, actually, within the heart, the secret of existence itself. And yet nobody cares. Nobody wants to know it. So even if you, or even if a great teacher were to come along and tell people that I have this great knowledge, only a few people would come to them. How many people out of the world's population came to Sri Ramakrishna, came to Holy Mother? How many people came to Buddha? How many people came to Jesus? We think of it as large numbers because a few hundred people or something sounds like a lot. But with the world's population in the billions, what are a few hundred people? That's nothing. So that's why it's a secret, not because someone is keeping it a secret from us. It's because we have kept it a secret from ourselves for our lack of interest, a lack of wanting to pursue that. And so this is the sovereign knowledge, the sovereign profundity, he calls it, which is also correct. But Guhya means, of course, a secret also. Pavitram idam uttamam. And this is the greatest purifier. It's the greatest purifier, because even conceptually understanding this, we gain a great purification. And experiencing it, of course, one is purified of all evil, of all that which is inauspicious. One becomes completely crystal pure as crystal. Directly realizable, pratyaksham avagamam, which is can be attained, which can be known, avagatam, pratyaksham, in direct experience. Pratyaksha means what? The root meaning of pratyaksha. Pratyaksha, that which is right in front of the eye. Pratyaksha means it's right in front of the eye, and so is used in Vedanta for not just for sense perception, that which is right in front of the eye, but immediate perception, because even sense perception is not direct. Pratyaksha is, in Indian philosophy and Hindu philosophy, pratyaksha is considered direct sense experience, that which you experience through the senses. One of the pramanas, one of the valid means of knowledge. If you've seen something, nobody can convince you that you didn't see it. If you actually saw it, you know you saw it. And so if you say something, whether you believe in them or not, but say if you see a ghost, and then somebody says ghosts don't exist, and you say, no, I saw a ghost. You can't convince me that ghosts don't exist. I saw one with my own eyes. So I'm not trying to convince you that ghosts exist, but say as an example. So, but even sense perception is not direct. Why? Because we are the conscious self. We're looking through the mind. The mind is not conscious. The mind is unconscious. It's illuminated by the consciousness of the self. So we're looking through the mind, and the mind is looking through the eyes. And so there are all of these instruments. There's the buddhi, where the light of the Atman falls, illuminates the buddhi. Then from the buddhi, the ahamkara, the ego is illuminated, and then the sense organs are illuminated, and then the light comes out through the eye. And if I have some defect in my eye, then I have a defect in that which I see. And so it's not direct perception. So this Pratyaksha this which is known directly, means not through sense perception, but which is known without even the mediation of the sense organs, not even the mediation of the mind, known directly in consciousness. No mind is necessary, no sense organ is necessary, directly in consciousness, no words are necessary. So pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam, that which is dharmyam, that which is righteous, that which is according to dharma. Susukam, which is here he interprets it as very easy to practice. Susukam kartum, which is very easy to do, easy to practice. And avyayam, which is imperishable, which has no end to it. And so this is what he's promising to teach us in this chapter. And so now let's skip some verses. We're still in review, but I want to, when we were chanting, there were several verses that were very beautiful. Let me see if I can remember where they are. He talks about his, in the succeeding verses, some of the verses he talks about his own nature and how he projects forth the universe through the power of his prakriti. But then he says that, nor do those actions bind me, in verse 9, to be sure, remaining as I do, like one unconcerned with and unattached to these actions. And so though we think of God as the creator of the universe, from God's standpoint, there's the divine does nothing. The divine does nothing. From our standpoint, we see that the universe has come out of the divine. From the divine's standpoint, it just happens with no intentionality. If God creates the universe because he wants to create the universe, or if he creates the universe because he has to create the universe, because that's what God is supposed to do, then he's no longer God. He's no longer God. He's no longer free. If God thinks, okay, now I'm going to create the universe, then God is a limited being like us. I think, oh, I'm going to paint my room, which I'm in the midst of doing. I'm going to paint my room. That's because I'm a limited being with a limited mind and limited intentions. But if God goes around thinking, oh, I'm going to paint my room, then what kind of God is that? God thinks, oh, I'm going to build a universe. We think I'm going to build a house, and we think that God thinks, so I'm going to build a universe. I'm going to get some 2x4s and some 2x6s and some nails and 10-penny nails and 16-penny nails and etc. And I'm going to put together a universe. No, that's a God unworthy of being God. That's just a big engineer. A big contractor, nothing more than that. Why are we going to worship a big contractor, a big engineer? We can become engineers, and we know becoming an engineer, we realize that, well, being an engineer is, yeah, it's a good profession, but it's no big deal. It's no big deal. So if God is just a big engineer, Vishwakarma is just a big engineer, then what kind of God is that? So if God creates the universe, then he's no God at all. And yet, from our standpoint, we see that the whole universe, and the scriptures say, the whole universe has come out of God. That the God is the source of the whole universe. It's similar, but on a vast scale, to our view of a realized soul and the realized soul's view of the realized soul. We see someone like a great realized soul, instead of taking one of our traditions, people take Ramana Maharshi, a fully illumined soul. So we see him, people saw him walking around, talking. He would go to the kitchen, he would help make idli for breakfast, and he would instruct people how to make the chutney. And he would go out and supervise construction projects in the ashram, and Annamalai Swami, his right-hand man who took care of the construction, he would give him instructions on where to build what and all of that. And so it looked like Ramana Maharshi was quite busy. And then he'd go to his audience room and just sit there for hours, just silently still. So for a while he's busy, and then he must be tired, so he goes to his audience room and just sits there staring out into space. But Ramana Maharshi doesn't do anything. He does nothing. And he knows that I do nothing. I'm completely still. Even when all of these things are happening which other people see, I'm completely still. I do nothing. And so if a realized soul like Ramana Maharshi, if that's true of him, how much more true is that of God himself? So God doesn't do anything. God's doing is what we see from our standpoint. We see that. And so, therefore, Sri Krishna says in verse 8, keeping my own prakriti under control, I project forth again and again the whole of this multitude of created things, which are helpless under the influence of my prakriti, So through my prakriti, I project this universe out again and again. Creation after creation, billions of years it goes on, and then I do it again, and that's been going on for infinite number of times. This universe has come into being and then been destroyed, come into being, been destroyed. We see that it lasts forever, so how can you even think of it coming into being and then going out, coming into being and going out, coming into being, going out an infinite number of times? It seems like the life of the universe itself is infinite. So Sri Krishna says in verse 8 that I do all of this. And then in verse 9 he says, O Dhananjaya, nor do these actions bind me, to be sure, remaining as I do, like one unconcerned with and unattached to those actions. Meaning, not that I'm doing them and I know that I'm doing them, but I don't care. No, I'm unattached to them and unconcerned because I don't do anything. As he explains in, I think it's chapter 4. Or is it chapter 3? Now I forget. I'm not going to go back and go through the chapters through my mind till I remember. But either 3 or 4, he talks about that, how he doesn't do anything, and so again, when it says in the scripture that Prajapati Ridamagras. Prajapati said, Ekoham bahusyam prajayeya. I am one, I wish to become many, and so let me body myself forth. That's speaking from the conventional sense. That's speaking from our standpoint. We do that. God doesn't do that. God doesn't think, well, I'm one, but I wish I were many. It's getting awfully boring sitting here just being one all of the time. So I'm going to create multiplicity. No, that's a poetic way of speaking of the divine from our standpoint, not from God's standpoint. From God's standpoint, nothing happens. So in verse 14 was a beautiful one also, and a very famous verse in the Gita. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Satatam kirtayanto mam, always singing my praises. Yatantascha dridhavrataha, those who have taken strong vows, who are always striving. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya, those who are bowing to me in reverence. And of course, bowing to me in reverence doesn't mean like in Tibetan Buddhism. I'm not making fun of their practice. It's a beautiful practice as a practice. But the Tibetan Buddhists, in the beginning of their practice, they have to do 100,000 prostrations. Not at one time, but before they can get higher instructions, they go do 100,000, 1 lakh of prostrations. And that's full prostrations, where you get down and you go out fully, and then you come back up and stand up, and then you go out fully, and you come back and stand up 100,000 times. And many go on doing that sometimes throughout their life. Like the Dalai Lama, I don't know right now, but I've seen films of him, even now in his old age, doing those prostrations many times a day. And so it doesn't mean doing that, though that's a good practice, but it means those who bow down to me, meaning those who adore me, those who surrender themselves to me. Namaste means what? Namaste means what? Of course, there's a trick question. So all of you know the root meaning of namaste, but sometimes it's derived as name, te, name, te, not me, but thou, not me, but thou. So namasyante, they are those who are surrendering themselves to God. Bhaktya, with devotion. Nitya yukta upasate, worship me. They're always joined to me and worship me. So, as I said when we went over that verse, that's really the essence of spiritual practice. And then 15, others worship me alone by adoring exclusively through the sacrifice of the knowledge of oneness. Others worship me as separate. Others worship in multifarious ways, me who am of all forms. Jnana yajnena chapyanye yajanto mam upasate. Those who worship me, anye, the others, indeed, who worship me with the jnana yajna, the sacrifice of knowledge. Ekatvena, pritatvena, bahudha. Ekatvena, they worship me in oneness. They worship me in as separate. So some worship me as their own self. Others worship me as separate. I as the Lord and they as the devotee. Bahudha vishwato mukham. In multifarious ways, I who am vishwato mukham, who am of infinite forms. So others worship me alone by adoring exclusively through the sacrifice of knowledge of oneness. Others worship me as separate. Others worship in multifarious ways me who am of all forms. And then the last verse we did last time, aham kratoraham yajna swadhaham aham aushadham mantroham aham evajyam aham agniraham hutam. So this is somewhat similar to Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam, verse 24 of chapter 4 that we do before food. So here, Aham Kratu, I am the Kratu. The Kratu was a class of Vedic sacrifices, like the Agnishtoma. A particular class of sacrifices. So again, remember that the Gita, being part of the Mahabharata, was in the late Vedic period. The late Vedic period. The Vedic period had not come to an end when Sri Krishna was speaking. So the Vedic period must have been very long, because you find by the time of Sri Krishna and the Mahabharata, Hinduism had developed a great deal. From the time of the Rig Veda, the Samhita portion of the Rig Veda, with the hymns to the various gods and so forth, to the time of the Mahabharata war, there was a long development. So it must have been over a long age that the Vedas developed. That's one of a number of reasons, or one of several reasons, I should say, not to exaggerate. One of several reasons why the idea of the Aryan invasion can't be supported. And there are growing numbers, it's still a minority, but growing numbers even of Western scholars who have been loath to give up the Aryan invasion theory. There are a growing number of Western scholars also who are beginning to see that the Aryan invasion theory just doesn't hold up. That the Vedic Aryans were in India long before the supposed Aryan invasion would have happened. And so one of the reasons for that is what I was just talking about, is that the supposed Aryan invasion is supposed to have happened around 1800 BC. And so it was after that the Vedas were composed. The earliest part of the Vedas were composed according to this theory. And so the Vedas were composed by a time that these people had already forgotten that they'd come from somewhere else. So they'd become settled and now they'd become naturalized. So they say at least 300 years had passed. And so you get down to 1500 BC. And then you just don't have time until the end of the Vedic period before the time of the Buddha, or by the time of the Buddha in 500 BC, for the immense amount of development in Vedic thought and the Mahabharata war, which came late in the Vedic period, and all of that. And anyway, back to the text. I am the Kratu, I am the this class of sacrifice, and I am the Yajna. Aham Yajna. So I'm the other sacrifices of the Vedas. And so he's here identifying himself with the sacrifice itself. Swadhaham, I am the Swadha. That is the mantra that you say when you're making offering to the Pitris. When you do a Shraddha ceremony, or when offering water, Tarpan, you say Swadhastu. May it be well offered. And Oshadham, I am the Oshad. I am the herbs or the medicines from the herbs. Mantroham, I am the mantra. And so mantra here, because he's speaking of the Vedic times, would mean the mantras of the Vedas. That is, the verses of the Vedas, the Rig Veda, which were considered, mantra. The term mantra was first applied to the verses of the Rig Veda. And later it came to be, in the Tantric age, came to refer to the mantras that we know now. Aham evajyam. I am the ajya. I am the ghee which is offered. Aham agnir. Aham hutam. I am the fire, and I am the act of offering. So I am the ajya which is offered. I am the fire into which it is offered, and I am the act of offering itself. So again, that's like the Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam. The same idea. So I am the Kratu, I am the Yajna, I am the Swadha, I am the Oshada, I am the mantra, I myself am the Ajya. Well, I should say that I am the mantra in context. Yes, it refers to the verses of the Vedas, but it refers to the verses of the Vedas which are chanted during the Yajna, during the sacrifice. So I am the sacrifice itself. I am the mantra which is said during the sacrifice. I am the fire. I am the ghee which is offered. I am the act of offering. So I am indeed everything in the sacrifice. And the sacrifice again was the Vedic sacrifice, but the Vedic sacrifice stood for what? It stood for the whole universe. The Vedic sacrifice was a symbol of the universe itself. That the whole universe is built on the plan of sacrifice. One thing gives way to another. One thing feeds another. We live our life and then we become the food of something else. And so with everything in this universe, everything is consuming everything else in a continual act of sacrifice. The rarely seen image of Chinnamasta, one of the forms of Kali. It's a frightful form to most people. Of course, Kali herself is frightful enough to many people. But Chinnamasta makes Kali look like a sissy. Chinnamasta, and again, is a form of Kali where she severed her own head. And she's holding her head out here, and the blood from her neck is going in an arc like that and falling into her mouth. So she's cut off her own head, she's holding her head out there, and the blood is going like that, and she's drinking her own blood like that. But it's a profound symbol, a very profound symbol. You don't see many images of it, because, no doubt, because not many people found it something they wanted to worship. But I've been to the Chinnamasta temple in Vishnupur, I think it is, Vishnupur. There's a famous Chinnamasta, old ancient Chinnamasta temple. But the symbolism is profound. It's a beautiful symbol if you understand it. That the Divine Mother is the one who performs the sacrifice, and she's the one who is sacrificed, and she's the one who takes the fruit of the sacrifice, who drinks the fruit of the sacrifice, her own blood. So she is the performer of the sacrifice, she's the victim of the sacrifice, and she's the enjoyer of the fruit of the sacrifice. So she's everything, everything. So when Sri Ramakrishna said to the devotee, I've quoted it many times, it's in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna in 1884, Sri Ramakrishna is saying that this whole universe is the play of my divine mother Kali. And the devotee says, but sir, it may be the play of Ma Kali, but it's our misery. And Sri Ramakrishna said, but who are you? But who are you? Meaning you're not different from Mother Kali. Mother Kali is not out there cutting off our heads. She is Chinnamasta. It's her own head that she's cutting off. It's her own experience. Our experience is the experience of the Divine Mother. She's not out there watching and laughing at our misery. No, it's she is the mother. It's from the inside. This everything is the Divine Mother. Everything is her experience. My experience is her experience. I only claim it as mine, and therefore I suffer. If I could see it, that no, it's the Mother's experience, then I would be free from suffering. So now let's take up verse 17. Pitahamasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitram onkara riksama yajureva cha. Pitaham asya jagato. I am the father of this world, this jagat, this world. I am the father of it. Why? Because it has come out of me. I have produced it. Again, from a conventional standpoint, the way we see it. But from God's standpoint, God does nothing. As Sri Krishna says in, I think it's chapter 4. Mata, dhata, pitamaha. I'm the mata. I am the mother. So I am the pita and I am the mata. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhus cha sakha tvameva. So I am the pita, I am the mata, I am the dhata. Dhata can be understood in two ways. One way of understanding dhatar or dhata in the karta karaka. Dhata means the nourisher, as he interprets it here, the one who gives nourishment. And it can also mean the support, the one who supports the universe. So either I am the support, that is, the whole universe rests on me, on my being, or I am the nourisher of the universe. Both give good meanings. Pitamaha. And I am the grandfather. So the grandfather gives the two meanings that can be taken from the grandfather. One is that I am Prajapati, who is known as Pitamaha. Prajapati, that is Brahma, the creator. That I am Prajapati, the lord of creatures, who has created this universe. So I'm the grandfather. But another meaning, because he's already said that I'm the father of the universe and the mother of the universe, another meaning is that as the difference, what is the difference between a grandfather and a father? And a grandmother and a mother. Many of you have grandchildren. That the mother and father feel responsible for the children, and they're worried about so many things, and grandparents get to enjoy the kids, get to enjoy the grandkids. And so God has no sense of ownership of the universe. The universe is not his to worry about. So he is the grandfather. He's the one who is there to be loved and who's there to love. There to be loved and to love, and nothing more. No further responsibility. And so he's the grandfather. Vedyam. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhus cha sakha tvameva, tvameva vidyam. So thou art our only knowledge. And so I am Vedyam, that which is to be known. What are we to know in this world? Well, we have to learn arithmetic, we have to learn reading and writing, we have to learn so many things, and we have to learn things for our particular profession, all of those things. But there's only one thing that we really need to know. Yes, for practice, if we're going to sustain our life and lead a life and not just starve in the street, we have to learn other things, yes, for practical purposes. But the thing that's really to be known, and the reason why we should sustain life, learn other things so we can get a job and sustain life, is really so that we can learn the one thing that we need to learn, and that is God. God is the one thing that's to be known. If we know everything else but not God, we haven't learned the purpose of life. If we know God, then we don't really need to know anything else. We have to learn other things. We have to go to school. We have to get a profession. We have to go to work and all of that, because we have to sustain life. But why are we sustaining life? Why do we want to live? Why are we trying to live? It's so that someday we will be able to come to the purpose of life. The purpose of life is not that getting a job and making money and all of that. That's just so that we can sustain ourselves. So we have to know what the purpose of life is, and he tells us here that I am the Vedyam. I am that which is to be known. Pavitram. I am the purifier, or the literal meaning of pavitram is purity itself. And I am purity, or I am the purifier, the sanctifier. Omkara. I'm also Omkara. I am that first impulse out of which this universe has come. Om is the anahata dhvani, the unstruck sound, the first sound. Before there's anything, how do you get sound when there's nothing? To get a sound, you have to have something that sets up a vibration. To set up a vibration, you have to have at least two things that collide to set up a vibration, one thing striking another. So anahata dhvani, Om, is the unstruck sound. It's very interesting that in Zen Buddhism, they have a koan, one of the puzzles that one is to meditate on year after year, like we would meditate on a mantra. But for them, they treat it like a puzzle, something that's to be understood, not intellectually, but you go on puzzling over it until there's a flash of insight. So what the koans is, what is the sound of one hand clapping? What is the sound of one hand clapping? How can you clap with one hand? You can't. But the question is, what is the sound of one hand clapping? And that you can't say, well, that's no sound at all, it's silence. Well, no, you fail. So the sound of one hand clapping is the Omkara. That is the Anahata Dhvani, the original sound which came before there was any diversity. It's out of Omkara that all diversity came. So I am that Omkara. And Rig Sama Yajurevacha. And I am the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda, and the Yajur Veda. What happened to the Atharva Veda? This was a time when the Atharva Veda was still not quite accepted as a Veda. So there were the three Vedas. In fact, in chapter 4, Sri Krishna speaks about the three Vedas. No, in verse 2, chapter 2, he says, Traividya Vishaya Veda. The Vedas deal with, the three Vedas deal with the objects of the world. And so the three Vedas were Rig, Sama, Yajur. And the Atharva Veda was sort of a collection of all sorts of things. It's very ancient. But it wasn't accepted as a Veda for a long time because it had everything. It had very high ideas, and it also had black magic, how to destroy your enemy and kill people and curse people and things like that. So it was, in fact, there's some idea that it was the continuation of the Yajur Veda, the Atharva Veda, which became the Tantra, the Tantric tradition. Because Tantra has everything. It has the most sublime ideas and practices and philosophy, and then it has everything down to cursing people and how to kill your enemies and how to cast spells on people and all of that. And so some have thought that that was a continuation of the tradition which was embodied in the Atharva Veda. So it was a long time before the Atharva Veda. Before you get the Chatur Veda, first you have the Tri Veda, and then later, after a long time, it was fully accepted and became the Chatur Veda. So I am the Rik, Sama, and Yajur Veda. So he's identifying himself with all of these things. And then verse 18. Katir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasa sharanam suhrit prabhava pralaya sthanam nidhanam bijam avyayam. So Gatir, here he interprets it as the well, let me make sure, because that what does where did they Gati, the fruits of action. He interprets it as Gati as the fruit of action. Gati, of course, means that which you go to, or the going also. But here it's he interprets it as the fruit of action. That which is attained, meaning the fruit of action is that which is attained. So Gati, that which is attained, refers to the fruits of actions. Bharta, I'm also the Bharta, the nourisher. Bhartri, Bharta, the nourisher. The Sakshi, the witness. The Sakshi, that is the witnessing consciousness. God is the Antaryamin, dwelling in the hearts of all, as the witness of the hearts of all. Not in the Abrahamic tradition's sense of being the witness and also the judge that is sitting in the heart and seeing what you do, but then judging you because of what he sees. No, God is the one who just sees as the loving witness, as the all-accepting witness, not as the judging witness. So he's the Sakshi or the Antaryami. Nivasa, I am the abode. The Nivasa, like Sadhu Nivas, the sadhus, sometimes you'll find in ashrams, they'll name the place where the sadhus live, Sadhu Nivas. So the abode, the Sharanam, I am the refuge. I am the refuge of all beings. Suhrit, I am the friend. Suhrit means what? Suhrit, good heart. So a friend is one who has a good heart. Or you make a friend one who has a sympathetic heart, one whose heart is available to you. Prabhava, I am the origin, that out of which this universe has come. The Prabhava and the Pralaya. The end of the universe, the withdrawing of the universe. So I am the source of the universe, and I am that to which the universe withdraws at the end of a period of creation. And I am the sthanam. I am that in which the universe rests. So of course, we know the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, the Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the sustainer, and Maheshwara, the destroyer. And so Sri Krishna is saying that I am the source. I am the source of creation. I am the sustainer, the sthanam, the place in which it rests. And I am pralaya. I am the destruction of the universe, that to which it returns also. Nidhanam, the store, Nidhanam. I can't read the word, or I can't come across the word in Sanskrit, Nidhanam, without remembering it. Mayavati is completely unrelated to the text, but I'll tell it anyway. When I was at Mayavati, we had a number of bhajan books, and some Bengali bhajan books, Hindi bhajan books, mainly those two languages. And so when the first editor I worked with on the Prabhupada Bharata, Swami Balaramanandaji, he one day was going through one of these old Hindi bhajan books, not of our order, but a big old collection of bhajans. And there was one hymn to a bhajan to Aurangzeb. And so it said, Aurangzeb, Nikila Guna Nidhana. Nikila Guna Nidhana. O Aurangzeb, you are the store of all great qualities. so, so it must have been a sycophant to a courtier who was trying to appeal to his mercy to get something out of him, who wrote that bhajan. So bijam avyayam, and I am the seed. That is that. What is a seed? A seed is that which contains everything. Out of the tiny banyan tree seed, it's a member of the ficus family, and all ficus trees have very small seeds. And so out of the small banyan seed comes a huge banyan tree, which by itself, one banyan tree can make a forest, with sending out the aerial roots and growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I am the bija of the whole universe, because in me is contained everything. I'm the source. So I am the fruit of actions. I am the nourisher, the master, the witness, the abode, refuge, friend, origin, destruction, continuation, store, and the imperishable seed. So God is, Sri Krishna is all of these things. And each one of these can be taken as a meditation. Some more than others, like the fruit of action. That you could, but that wouldn't be the first thing most people would go to meditate on God as. And that's why, to me, Gati would, another meaning of Gati, of course, is the one that you go to. And so I won't second guess Madhusudana Saraswati, because he was a great scholar. And so he must have had a very good reason for choosing this meaning for Gati. But to me, a better meaning, certainly for meditation, is that I am the one who is to be gone to. And the Bharata, the nourisher, the Prabhu, the Sakshi, Nivasa, Sharanam, Suhrit, all of these things are worthy of independent meditation. And then in verse 19, Tapamyaham varasham nigrahnam yutsrajami cha amritam chaiva mrityuscha sarasachaham arjuna. Aham tapami, aham varsham. So aham tapami, I give heat. I give heat as the sun. And other bodies also, but I am that which gives heat, life-giving heat to the world. And aham varsham nigrahnami utsrajami cha. And I give the reins and I withdraw the reins. So I give the reins and I withdraw the reins. I am the source of the rains and the source of drought as well. Amritam Jeva. I'm also immortality, the nectar of immortality. Amrita, of course, has two meanings that are associated. It means that which doesn't die. So it means Amrita, the nectar which gives deathlessness. And it also means the fact of deathlessness. So I am Amrita, that is, I am nectar of immortality, and I am deathlessness it's also. But Chaiva Mrityuscha, I am also death. So I am death, and I am also deathlessness. So I am death, and I am immortality as well. Sad asat cha aham Arjuna. O Arjuna, I am also existence and non-existence. I am that which is and that which is not. And he could have said, because it's consistent with what he teaches in the Gita, and that which is beyond both. I am the existence and non-existence, and that which is beyond both. So you may say, what is non-existence? Sri Krishna has already answered in the second chapter I think it's verse 16 of the second chapter. He says that that which doesn't exist never comes to have existence, and that which has existence never becomes non-existent. And so non-existence means that which isn't. And so how can God be that which isn't? Well, here he means that he is conceptual. He is that which is intended by both concepts. Non-existence may mean that which doesn't exist, and so it isn't. So there's no such thing as non-existence. But even then, we have the concept of non-existence. We can talk about non-existence, what non-existence means, what it doesn't mean, etc. And so I am existence and non-existence. What people mean by existence and by non-existence, I'm both. Because again, non-existence as a concept is existent because we talk about it. We have a word for it. But actual non-existence is non-existent. It doesn't exist. So I am both because there's nothing outside of me. So, O Arjuna, I give heat. I suck up and I pour down rain. That is, I withdraw and then I pour down rain. I myself am nectar and also death. I am the real and the unreal. Oh, so here he gives, that's another meaning. You could, Sat means existence and non-existence. But he interprets it, to Madhusudana, to mean that which is real and that which is unreal. And so there, that's probably a better and more felicitous meaning for Sarasat, even though it's not the exact meaning, but it's what it implies. So that I am that which is real, that is, the Brahman alone is real. And I'm that which is unreal, which is all of this that we take to be real. That which we take to be real is that which is unreal. And that which we ignore is that which is real. So that's the strange condition which we are in. So let's see, I think we'll stop here. Yes, let me stop here. I'll see if there are any questions at this point. And we'll start with verse 20 next time. Yes, Sanjali, just a moment. Let Jiten get a microphone and turn it on. Now it's working. Okay, good. Thank you, Jiten. So I go through 10 classes without having time for questions and answer. And so Jiten usually is all ready to go, but then I go so many times without giving them that get out of practice. So, okay, Sanchali.
Maharaj, in chapter 18, the word Nidanam, I was reading the explanation. It's talking about 9 kinds of wealth of Kuber. Can you please elaborate on that?
Now, in chapter...
In Madhusudan's explanation, in the word Nidanam, chapter verse 18.
Verse 18, okay. Oh, that's what I was confused
Remember
about.
The one where you talked about Aurangzeb's...
Yes, yes.
So the word Nidhanam, it's saying it's 9 kinds of wealth of Kuber.
Oh, that yes, yeah. That I don't know. That's taking it as a traditional and mythological statement. I don't think we need to do that. In the Gita,
Nidhanam, what does it mean?
Nidhana means the store, yes. And it also, because it means store, it can mean treasury also. It can mean store of wealth, so treasury. So these are just things that are the mythological wealth of Kubera. But usually with the Gita, Sri Krishna, one of the great values of the Gita, one of the part of the Gita Mahatmyam, and I don't mean the verses, the Gita Mahatmyam, but the actual greatness of the Gita, is that it's very straightforward, and the meaning is usually the simple meaning. And so I don't think there's any need to go to Kubera and his 9 types of wealth and all of that. That's trying to stretch as much as you possibly can out of it. So, okay. So next time we'll start with verse 20. Let me say a closing chant. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. That infinite reality is full. This relative universe is full. From out of the fullness of that infinite reality, the fullness of this universe has come. And yet that fullness remains ever the same. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us and to all the beings of the universe. First, let me say that it feels cold in here.